Ever felt like someone's watching you while you're in the shower? Not a person, but something shifting just beneath the surface of the steaming water. Something breathing in the mist, whispering behind the locked door, even when you're alone. Deep, in the backwoods of Kagoshima, there's a forgotten hot spring, swallowed by fog and rot, a heritage nobody claims, a hotel sinking into silence, and in room 4, there's a bathtub. It's always full. No running water, no guests, doesn't matter. Full of a thick, murky liquid that smells like boiled meat and rust. Sometimes bubbles rise, sometimes the liquid smiles, and every night at the same hour, someone steps inside, even if the room's locked from the inside, even if the tub's too full. They call it the tenant, but it doesn't pay rent. It waits, it swells, it grows, and when you lean over the edge, it shows you where it lives. Inside the tub. It was after the 3rd letter from the lawyer that Akari gave in. The inheritance, or curse, of her family's old hot spring inn. A heap of rotting wood and loose tiles perched on a misty hill in Kagoshima, a place where the damp never dries, where sulfur clings to your bones, a place nobody climbs up to, and nobody comes down from. She showed up in a coat too thin for the chill, eyes still sparkling with disbelief. She thought it was just decay, abandonment, that the fear came from the dark, the loneliness. She was wrong. The fear came from the sound. Muffled, rhythmic thud, like water slapping against porcelain, drip, drip from inside room 4. The key wouldn't turn in the lock, not with pushing, not with force, but from inside. She swore she heard someone moving, a body shifting in water, the sound of flesh sliding against old ceramic. On the 3rd day, she decided to open the inn's main valve. The pipes were bone dry. Every other tub empty, except one. Akari went up alone that night, a trembling flashlight in her hand, her steps sinking into soft floorboards. She stopped at room 4, and for the first time, the door wasn't locked. She pushed it open. The flashlight beam sliced through the dark like a blade. The floor creaked like old bones. The bathtub sat in the middle of the room, pressed against the wall. Full, not with water, but with something thick, almost oily, bubbling quietly. The stench was unbearable, like boiled meat, burnt hair, and ancient mold. She stepped closer, slow. The beam of light shook. The surface of the liquid stirred, like someone was holding their breath down below. Then, something rose, not fast, slow, too slow, like the flesh was too heavy. A face, swollen, warped, pale, eyes too wide, lips stretched into a smile that wasn't human, and from the open throat, a sound crawled out. Finally, someone's back for a bath, Akari screamed, but the sound didn't come because the water wasn't water, and it was already climbing her legs, pulling, melting skin, trading her bones for something softer, something that floats. Outside, the room locked itself again, and the bathtub fell silent. Until the next night, until the next air, and inside it, now there were 2. The tub overflowed, not with water, with bodies, with memories that belonged to no one, with voices whispering in tongues never spoken aloud. Down in the village, no one talked about the inn. It was a mistake on the map, a whisper at the end of the road. The locals only said, "If you hear water running at night, lock your door tight. It's not rain, it's not a busted pipe. It's him looking for another tub to be born in." Akari never came back, never walked down the hill, never called anyone, but someone still turned on the heater in room 4 every night. Someone left a towel folded on the tub's edge. Someone dried off. Then the plumbers came, sent by the city to cut off the water supply, Two men, skeptical, unprepared. The first went down to the basement where the main pipes were. Down there he found things. Human tissue caught in the pipes. Teeth, hair, eyes still open, floating in a stagnant reservoir. The second heard the screams. He ran, but the basement door was locked, and the sound of boiling water echoed behind it. He tried to flee, but he slipped. On the wet floor, wet with what? It wasn't water, it was slick, it was warm, and it bubbled with tiny bubbles that had faces. One of them opened its eyes. It was Akari, or something that looked like Akari, but the eyes were inside out, and the mouth. No teeth, no tongue, still smiling. The plumber crawled toward the front door, but the floor opened like a giant drain, and the house sucked, first his knees, then his waist, then his head. Finally, his screams. The hotel went empty again, but the bathtub. The bathtub was never alone again. The village started rotting in silence. First, the steam. It didn't just rise from the inn on the hill anymore. It seeped from the streets, the cracks between houses, the mouths of sleeping villagers. A thick, salty steam that smelled like old skin soaked too long. Kids stopped playing by the rivers. They said the water whispered names no one taught them, names that didn't belong to anyone alive. The local school teacher was the first to hear it. She heard it while brushing her teeth, while turning off the faucet while trying to sleep. "Have you taken your bath today?" It was a wet voice, airless, bubbling between words. And she answered. She smiled into the mirror, and when she woke the next morning, her eyes were gone. Just two dark, deep holes dripping water, slowly, endlessly. Up on the hill, room 4 wasn't a room anymore. It was a lung. It breathed, it exhaled steam, it devoured flesh, and the bathtub, once still, now moved. It glided through the halls, its rusted iron legs scratching the floor. At night, the creak of its wheels echoed down to the village. It climbed stairs, passed through doors. It hunted. No one knew what it wanted, until one night, the tub stopped outside an old widow's house, forgotten by all. She didn't run. She just opened her arms, knelt on the kitchen floor, and wept. "You've finally come back to me." And she stepped in, willingly, with the water bubbling up to the ceiling. The next day, where her house once stood, there was only a pile of soaked towels, and the sound of a clogged drain, breathing. Then the dreams began. Every villager started dreaming of water. Not just any water, stagnant water, heavy, full of submerged bodies. In the dream, they were always in the same tub, the same tiled antique porcelain stained with rust, and under the water. Something held them. Something that didn't want them to wake up. Akari was there, floating, eyes open, a necklace of drain plugs strung around her neck. She whispered, "It's okay, just 5 more minutes. You're still simmering." And when they woke, the villagers found themselves wet. No bath, no rain, not even under the covers. Wet, like they'd just stepped out of a very long soak. The city cut the power, closed the roads, ordered the pipes cleaned, but the water came back. It always came back. The steam now poured from every villager's mouth. Didn't matter if they were asleep, awake, or dead. They exhaled heat. Like something inside them was cooking. The water didn't need faucets anymore. It oozed from walls, from cracks in the floor, from the eyes of children. The bathtub grew. It spread like a hydraulic tumor. Now it was in every room, even if you couldn't see it. You felt it in the damp air, in the sweet stench of freshly fermented flesh, in the sense that something was waiting inside the drain, just close enough to grab your head. Kazuo was gone, but his smile still floated, trapped at the bottom of the tub, along with others, so many others. And the house, it vanished. The forest swallowed its foundations. The city erased every record, but you can still find it. If you follow the sound of water dripping on porcelain where nothing should be, if you've made it this far, it's because you heard it too. Maybe the bathtub's somewhere else now. Maybe in your house, in the bathroom, behind the curtain. Check. But don't get too close. If it's full, don't look inside. Just listen. And if you hear something call your name, never, ever answer. If you enjoyed or survived this dive, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who's scared of hot water. And drop a comment below. What's your biggest fear when you're alone in the bath until the next plunge? But remember, some things don't wash off with soap, especially what sticks on the inside. Good night and sweet soggy dreams.